All right, everybody. For my next set of predictions, I want to move on to the HBO card featuring Dmitry Bivol versus Isaac Chilemba and Sergey Kovalev against Eleider Alvarez. All right, so if you would have asked me a year ago who the best prospect in boxing was, I probably would have told you Dmitry Bivol. Loved his performance against Agnew, the way he blew Broadhurst out in a round. When he was scheduled to fight Barrera, I was thinking, okay, Barrera's a decent fighter, but as many times as he's been dropped early, and just the machine, the powerhouse that Bivol looked like in those fights, I thought he would be able to stop Barrera fairly easily and early. And even though he dominated the fight, won nearly every round, and did stop him in the 12th, I kind of soured on him just a little bit as a prospect. I've seen some kinks in his armor. He got busted up a little bit. I don't know. He didn't look as good as I thought he would, and it concerns me a little bit going forward. And I know there's the big rumor showdown with Kovalev if they both win for later this year or early next year, and that would be great. And then, moving on to Chilemba, he's the ultimate gatekeeper of the light heavyweight division. Tough as nails, been in there with just about everybody, given everybody a tough fight, been on the wrong end of some close decisions. So I respect Chilemba, but I see virtually no way that Bivol can lose this fight. It's really just about how Bivol looks in this fight to me. I mean, can he go out there and put a showcase performance on and stop Chilemba, more impressively than anybody else has who's fought him recently? Or will Chilemba be able to give him some fits, and I don't know, expose him or at least set a blueprint for how to beat him out there? So my prediction for this fight, I think Bivol will win a decision. If Barrera can go 12, even though he did get stopped, but if Barrera can go that far in the fight, I think Chilemba will be able to go that far in the fight with them. Probably take him to points. I expect Bivol to win a decision, like 118, 110, something wide, but I expect Chilemba to give a decent account of himself like he always does. We'll see if Bivol can do better than what I think and impress me. And then if he does, I'll start heaping praise on him again like I did a year ago. All right, so moving on to the main event. First of all, I want to say I'm a huge Sergey Kovalev fan. Since he burst onto the scene, knocking out Nathan Cleverly, the knockout against Salak, all the knockouts he had in between before the Hopkins fight. And really, the first time I saw Kovalev get frustrated was against Chilemba. And a lot of people after that fight were saying that Chilemba, set the blueprint or exposed Kovalev. I'm not going to go that far, but he did give Kovalev some problems, won a few rounds. And then, I'm going to go to the grave saying that Kovalev won the first Ward fight. I had him winning 115 to 112. I mean, he dropped him. I thought he piled up enough points early. But I will say that Ward figured him out. I mean, by the time that fight was over, Ward found a way to neutralize his power. I thought he found some weaknesses, especially to his body. And then going into the rematch with all the trouble that Kovalev had in his camp, John David Jackson reportedly almost switching sides, to go to the Ward camp. How many times do you hear about that? So, they had those skeletons in his camp, and just mentally, he didn't look like he was all there in that fight. And not to make excuses, because Ward had him figured out at that point, found a way to neutralize his power. But even in that fight, I had Kovalev up 5-2 when he got stopped in the 8th round. But, again, Ward was able to sit in the pocket, neutralize his power, and work his body. And I hate to say it. It hurts to say it as a Kovalev fan, but he kind of quit there. I mean, he showed a little bit of dog in that moment. I mean, he pretty much just mentally checked out of that fight. Physically, yeah, he was hurt, but I don't think he was, I don't know, he just didn't really seem like he wanted to be in there anymore at that point. So that concerns me a little bit, but, I'm still a Kovalev fan, and there's no shame in losing to Andre Ward. He's one of the best fighters we've seen in the last 20 years. He was pound for pound top 3 for, 10 years, a decade. And, but now that Ward is retired, Kovalev is still the best light heavyweight in the world. And, Alvarez has a good opportunity. So moving on to Alvarez, seen him fight plenty of times. The Butte knockout was impressive, even though Butte was washed up. His last fight, though, against Pascal's shop worn at this point. I feel like he should have been able to beat him easier. That close of a fight versus this version of Pascal, who's had stamina issues, who basically just loads up with one shot. And yes, he's a very strong, physically imposing fighter. But Alvarez should have been able to beat Pascal much easier than he did. And it sucks that Stevenson won't fight him because that would have been a big showdown in Montreal. And I give Alvarez a lot of credit for taking this fight against Kovalev. He could have just waited Stevenson out and made the money in the Canadian fight. But he's taking the real challenge here. And if this fight... So, on to my prediction. All right. If this fight would have happened a few years ago, this would have been a Kovalev wrecking show, in my opinion. I think Kovalev pre-Ward would have knocked him out in, like, I don't know, maybe 2 to 7 rounds. And I'm going to go ahead and say my prediction is Kovalev in 2 to 7 rounds. I think, even though I'm worried about it, I'm a little bit apprehensive about that pick because Kovalev fights after Ward. That one fight, just throw that one out against Sabransky or whatever. That was just a blowout. That guy he just wasn't nowhere near on Kovalev's level. But his last fight, he just looked a little bit pensive, a little... I don't know how to explain it. He just didn't look like the same Kovalev. He didn't have that aura around him. And he was getting hit. Maybe, I know they said he knew that guy personally. And, there was a friendship there. And I understand all that. But and maybe he wasn't worried about getting hurt because the guy couldn't punch. But, man, I don't know. I just feel like... that didn't look like the same Kovalev pre-Ward. So this will be the fight. This is essentially Kovalev's career. If he loses this fight... He's no longer pound for pound. He's no longer elite. I mean, potentially his career is over if he loses this fight. And for Alvarez, a great opportunity. If he wins this fight, in my mind, he's the best light heavyweight in the world. Forget Stevenson. That guy's a joke. So what my prediction, though, I think Alvarez, from what I've seen of him, when he gets hit, he has an instinct to fire back. And against Kovalev, that's probably not the best instinct to have. He's not really a defensive fighter. He don't go to the body. The only weakness I've seen on Kovalev is to the body. He doesn't go to the body enough. He's gonna, in my mind, he'll have a good game plan. Solid amateur background. He'll come out. He'll have a game plan early. He'll try to move a little bit. He'll try to box. I could even see him landing a couple punches early. But I think once Kovalev hits him eventually at some point early, 2 to 7, either early rounds, mid rounds, Kovalev will hit him, and it will just be the beginning of the end. And he'll try to fire back, and he'll get caught with something else, and he'll just get finished off. But I'm excited about this fight. It's a big fight, big light heavyweight fight. And, potentially if Kovalev and Bivol do win, then that sets up a great fight down the road. I'm really looking forward to that fight. So that's my prediction for this fight. And let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree. And I'm still a Kovalev fan, and I'm hoping he pulls it off. So maybe I'm a little biased on this pick. Like I said, I'm not comfortable with it as I normally would be, but I'm going with Kovalev. Officially, my prediction, Kovalev in 5 rounds. Knockout. All right, so thanks for watching.